Before we begin, thank you very much to HJ Fies for coming back to the Patreon campaign. Thank you for returning. Good to see you back. Thank you everyone for the support there. It has meant the world to me. Really do appreciate it. As I record, we are very close to the first of the month. We are currently just below the mark for unlocking the next set of episode reviews, which is going to be Transformers RID 2001, the anime, not the modern one starring Bumblebee. That one, admittedly, it would be 3 months behind the line because starting on July 1st, we're going to be reviewing Transformers Prime episode by episode. The watching for that has already begun. The note-taking has begun. At certain intervals, we will be doing watch parties for certain segments of episodes on my Discord. That'll be exclusive to patrons if you want to get in on that. But for now, yeah, I've got a lot to review thanks to you guys. So thank you guys so much for doing so. It means the world. Okay, so I know we're talking Fortnite today. I know, don't click out yet. It's Transformers based, I swear. We're keeping in topic. However, there's some pretty big Transformers things happening now. Let's not mistake this. So we know now it's been out for a few weeks. So yeah, it's pretty well known. Transformers is now a part of Fortnite. It is the newest major franchise to join up with what is essentially, yes, the largest video game in the world. Maybe second to things like second maybe only to maybe World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14, maybe Minecraft. Point being, one of the biggest games in the world, not only just in player base, but in revenue and just cultural impact. Fortnite is a big deal, and it's a big deal to be recognized in it. It's kind of like Smash Brothers, except it's not limited to just video game characters. If your franchise is popular enough to make it into Fortnite, you did something right. So I've kind of been wondering where Transformers has been from the get-go, because they'll do the occasional 80s franchise. Aliens, RoboCop, they're in Fortnite, and just kind of sitting back and wondering, where's my Optimus? Where's my Bumblebee? Well, they finally gave it to us. Not quite the way I would have wanted, because it's Rise of the Beast tied in. So it is absolutely Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime, though it's still close to the G1 aesthetic. But just before we begin, let me just give you my current stance on Fortnite in general. So I stopped playing years ago when I just got sick of dealing with sweats who build the Arc de Triomphe the second that any bullet is shot near them. I can't crank 90s. I can't shoot through edits. I can't chase people up towers with builds. It's just not in my brain to have that kind of twitch reflex and map out my mouse to I've seen it. It's absurd. And more importantly, when I'm focused that hard on, the build aspect of the game, it's just not fun, I would prefer just traditional shooter mechanics, where it depends on how good your shot is and how good you are finding cover. And that's what brought me back into the game was Zero Build, along with playing with a brand new set of friends who is always a lot of fun to play with. So there's your biggest things with Fortnite. It's a very competently made shooter game. If you're not playing, if given a few caveats. One, you don't mind how silly it is. I prefer my shooters to be silly. I don't like over-the-top violence in the shooters, and I don't like super serious shooters. I'm a Borderlands player. I need the comedic. I need the cartoonish. The other thing is, don't ever play with randos. Randos are going to ruin your game every single time. When the worst thing in this game is to come onto a random team and everyone on over the comms, you hear, the voice of a 12-year-old using a slur at you. And yes, that's happened to me. It's the one time I tried to play public, and it's the last time I will play public. Only play with friends. With friends, it's a really different experience and it's a lot more fun. So yeah, thank you Zero Build, and thank you to friends who wanted to play the game with me. But yeah, so originally this video was going to be about how Optimus Prime was implemented in the game. And yes, we're going to talk about that here at the end, but we're going to front load that with some news that we got today because this gets pretty big. So We already know that aside from Optimus Primal from the movie is in the game, and ironically enough, it's one of the best looks at the design of the robot mode that we've gotten, because it can be seen in bright colors. It can be, it's not like in shadow, it's not like in a weird pose or in the middle of a like hyperkinetic fight scene. And it's a better representation than any of the toys that are out on the market right now. So it's ironically a pretty good source for people like customizers and artists who really need a good source of exactly how Primal from the movie looks. It is cool. It's cool, like, to think that yes, I can play as a Maximal in a different video game, other than the three Beast Wars games that are actually out, and none of which are actually any good. So this is pretty extreme. This is pretty cool. Even if it is the movie Primal, still cool. And then today, some really cool stuff dropped. So for starters, we're getting 3 more. Now, this is coming out in October, which is after the current season. The current season has challenges and a few things around the map that are Transformer-based, so we're getting Transformer content even after this current season. Okay, cool. And exactly what that is? So, we are getting Bumblebee. I think the biggest question anyone had when this collab was announced was, why didn't you throw in Bumblebee? He's the cash cow. He's the one who's probably going to sell the best. Well, it's because they wanted to sell him as an individual pack. So that's not a surprise anymore. He gets a special emote. He gets his door wings as a back bling. He gets his arm blade that we've seen in the movies. Even though his design is far sleeker and more humanoid, more like a human in armor than like a traditional Transformers body. Keeping in mind, these designs have to fit the standard Fortnite hitbox. So you're not going to see anything too extreme as far as like shapes on these Transformers. Nothing too bulky. Which also kind of explains Megatron. Now, I do like that it's more G1 centric. It's not going to match the Rise of the Beast designs that are currently in the game, but it's still Megatron, right? It is designed more like a Fortnite skin, a Fortnite robot aesthetic, but it does have enough G1 still in there. And the proportions are a little bit weird. We're not going to lie. The proportions are a little bit odd because it has to fit the hitbox. You are at the very least getting an emote for his fusion cannon, a Decepticon symbol as your backpack, and then the traditional Energon mace, which is nice to see. Weird that we're not... I hope this is a precursor to getting a G1 style Prime as well. We'll wait and see on that one. And then there's the more interesting one of all this, which is the actual Battle Bus as a Transformer. You can play as the Battle Bus. And I think this is going to be cool for longtime Fortnite players because it's the first time the actual balloon from the Battle Bus that carries it over the island is actually going to be a glider that you can equip to anybody. That alone is going to sell this to people who don't even care about Transformers. Also, prime setup for a collaborative toy. Like, okay, it's definitely not going to look this sleek because it has to transform into a bus. And I don't know what they're going to do with the balloon. How do you incorporate that into a transforming toy? Nevertheless, it makes it possible. And it's a lot more evergreen than most Fortnite toys. It avoids the trap of like Fortnite skins are cool for like a month tops, and it takes a lot longer for a toy to get out. So by the time the action figures are made and out for release, no one really cares about the skin anymore and nobody buys it. That's the trap that the toy lines always fall into. That's why they never really seem to sell well. So this would avoid that, being a Transformer and being the bus itself that's not going anywhere. This is all cool. This is all really cool. So Fortnite's doing cool things with the Transformers franchise. Finally, I can actually use Optimus Prime to shoot Darth Vader in the head. So, what could have been done better though? All right. So first off, let's take a look at Optimus. So what you see on screen on those boxes, that's pretty much what you're getting along with Optimus. He's part of the Battle Pass, so you have to earn them up and earn all the cosmetics yourself. He does get the axe from the movie. He gets an Autobot back bling, the symbol, which seems a little bit plain until you realize that means you can brand any of your Fortnite skins as an Autobot, which, okay, that's fine. I would have preferred something more iconic of Optimus Prime, the Matrix, a Matrix, the Allspark, etc., but okay, it is what it is, and it has its use. And beyond that, it's simple stuff. Wallpaper, spray that you can spray paint onto walls and floor in the game. I never see anyone using sprays. They're one of the more boring assets that you can get. But, hey, it's something. But you'll notice, like, it's not everything. There's a lot missing here. And it's a little bit disappointing. Now, the big thing that everyone complained about, and still complaining about, is the fact that he can't transform. So, if you haven't played Fortnite in a long time, everyone knows the dancing emotes, because that's like the culture behind Fortnite is just all like the weird dances and emotes that you can equip and dunk on people after you wipe them out. However, there are other ones called traversal emotes. These are emotes that you can do that have special animations that allow you to actually move while you're emoting. Now, you go fairly slow, but the point is, you can have things, goofy things like this. Okay, so Master Chief gets a tiny little Power Wheels warthog to drive around. It's just kind of a goofy little thing he can do. That's kind of how, a traversal works. It might be a dance. It might be like acrobatic moves, like a Spider-Man character. But for the most part, yeah, it's just some goofy little thing that allows you to move. However, there's a big difference here. So let's take a look at this again. Now, if Optimus Prime were to transform into a truck in-game, can you spot the problem that we have here? Take a look, because this is basically what he would look like. Can you spot the problem in making him a traversal emote? All right. The problem is, where's his head? So, one thing I will give Fortnite credit for is they try very hard to make sure that whatever cosmetic they put in the game retains a level of fairness. There is a skin in the game called the Plastic Patroller. This is your traditional Army Man skin, okay? Right down to like the big wide like extra plastic underneath his feet for a stand. And it's a kind of a neat one. However, it used to be solid green, just like your traditional out of the bucket Army Man. They changed it because they realized that in heavily green areas of the map, either with tall grass or especially someone hanging out in a tree, the skin was almost impossible to see. So they added the mud splatters to it to actually give it some kind of definition so you can spot it out from the greenery a little bit easier. There's another skin that was a hero motif that gave you the ability to customize colors, and people found out you could make the whole costume jet black and hide in any shadow you wanted. That ability got removed from that skin. And there's a few others, like there's another emote that would allow you to drop to the ground really fast, and people were using it to dodge bullets. Anytime that happens, anytime they overlook some advantage that a skin or cosmetic of any kind gives you, they will do what you see here, is that they will give you the option of, they will modify it, and then give you the option of refunding it if you don't want it after the modifications. Okay, good on Epic. They're trying to keep the game fair, and they're being fair to the people who actually purchase the cosmetic. Because there are a lot of people who buy them to be advantageous. So, they'd cut out if that was taken away. All right, fair. So you can't have Optimus Prime transform in-game because it would take his head away. And without the head, you no longer have a fair way of getting a headshot on him. It complicates the game. This is why all the Transformer skins cannot transform. Primal may be the one exception if they could have gotten away with it. But even then, it'd be a complex animation. It's a rare thing for them to do. Point being, there's a reason that's excluded. Let's talk about the stuff that's excluded that really makes no sense whatsoever. Throughout all of those Transformers, the only ones you saw that had some kind of glider was Battle Bus, because it's his balloon. The problem is, gliders are probably one of the best cosmetics in the game. They are the ones that get all the fancy animations, It's cool. It's one of the coolest pieces that you can customize your character with. You'll notice there's none for Transformers, even though there are some pretty obvious choices. For the Rise of the Beast stuff, I'm wondering, where's Air Razor? How simple of that would it have been? It's just a bird. You don't even have to show her transforming. There's robotic characters in the game already. There's a flying robotic shark. There's giant bats. I have more than one bird. I have more than one bird that I can fly down onto the island with. There's plenty of them in the game already, so there's no reason not to have done Air Razor as a glider. So that's a little bit frustrating. Yeah, and yeah, I don't understand why. And even then, you have all these other Transformers that are now going to be joining the game. They don't have gliders either. They have nothing to really match them, and that's disappointing when there's so many obvious choices. You have Starscream, Flash, or any generic Seeker. Doesn't have to be Starscream in case you want to do Starscream as an actual skin later on. It can just be any random, any kind of random Seeker. It could be an Acid Storm. It could be a generic purple one. Whatever. Have it poured in. Quick little spinny animation to fake the transformation. Grab onto the underside and glide down to the island. How simple is that to figure out? That can be done really easily. On the Autobot side of things, you're looking at Jetfire, Cosmos. And if you don't want to do something that transforms, you can do the Arc. And that could, you could work the Arc either as one you surf in on or one you hang out underneath on. Options. That's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for good options here. Because it is kind of a big thing to leave out. And it's disappointing that it does. There's other things about the collab that kind of get to me. They introduced the Cybertron cannon, which is a great weapon. It's a lot of fun to use. Unfortunately, it really does make you wonder why it's not Megatron's fusion cannon. If you're dealing with a gigantic cannon in Transformers, odds are his is the one you'd probably think of first. Instead, we get this generic thing that they came up with all on their own. I will admit it's cool that it transforms from a backpack into the cannon, and the backpack keeps track of the energy charge in it, so that's kind of neat. But it still kind of begs the question why it wasn't an existing cannon from Transformers. I'm also going to criticize the lack of the point of interest. If Transformers is a thing for the season, I really wish they would have gone with some kind of Cybertronian area or some area where Energon was present. Rocks that would explode when blasted enough during Crossfire. This is rarer, I will admit. They did it for Spider-Man. They do it for a few major franchises. They put in Gotham City for Batman. I'm just asking for a little bit of Cybertron. At best, there's an Autobot symbol in a temple. It really doesn't cut it for me. It really doesn't cut it for me. I really wish they could have done more. And then there's the weirdest thing. So, if you haven't played Fortnite in a while, you can go beyond level 100 in the Battle Pass now, and you get what's called Super Styles. This is basically just stuff to show off. Just when the season's done, you get to show off the fact that you made it to level 150 or 200 based on the skins that you equip in a fight. They're usually gaudy gold skins, but okay, they're really just there to show off how good you were last season. But unfortunately, even though some crossovers got these, not every crossover does, but some do. Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen, they both got Super Styles. You can see, Spider-Man got this nice gold suit. There's some really cool skins for Gwen Stacy in her spider costume. And they don't do it all the time, but it feels like if they're going to do it for any time, it really should have been Optimus Prime, because, there's few characters in Transformers with more repaints than him. And could have been extra characters, because there's a black suit Spider-Man. So why isn't there a Nemesis Prime, Optimus Prime in the game? It just seems like they've left some very obvious use on the table, and it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of frustrating, because I don't know if we're actually going to get another, normal G1 Prime where all that actually happens. Likely not, because they're trying to sell you the season by you have to play now in order to get Optimus Prime. So, fingers crossed for the future, but who knows. So that's just it. Because I do play the game, and I do enjoy playing the game, and I'm probably going to be streaming the game more often over at twitch.tv/TJOmega. Go follow there for when it drops. I look at this, and I just think to myself, it's cool. It's really cool, and the announcement today was really cool. We're getting some nice-looking skins and characters. Man, it could have been better. And it hurts me that this franchise, as big as it is now, was not treated the same way as other franchises that they have collaborated with. really feels like we could have gotten better. I'm not complaining about what we got. I'm complaining about what's not there, because it seems pretty obvious and it's kind of a glaring omission in some of these cases. But that's just my thoughts. Those are my opinions. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoy what they've done with Prime and the cast in Fortnite, what you wish they would do, because, yeah, like, everyone's going to have different demands on this one. So, and I'm genuinely curious what people think. So, let me know. And, as always, I will see you next time.
I'm like, I think you guys got this. I will back away, and I will see you all later.
You've got this handled.
Alafi's like, really? You're not gonna help me? Like, it's fine now.
It's like these disgusting creatures breathing down my neck, and you're all just like, I believe in you. You got this.
All right, you seem to have this. 5 minutes.